It's sexy. Welcome back to the Ardennes in 1944. Or should we call it the R-Ends? 1944. So we just wrapped up the 21st p.m. turn. And it was one last desperation attempt for the Americans. So I'm going to read the victory conditions. All right. Option 1, the German player has captured and holds 5 or more zones. All right. That was condition number 1. And we don't have to go any farther. Or you can go condition number 2, the German player has cleared any quarter of the map and has captured and holds any 4 zones. Okay, so even with the reinforcements. Now, okay, so I see how this game has to be played, and apparently I did it the way it needs to be played if you want to win as the Germans. Push, 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 push. You have very strong units as the Germans. The American infantry and stuff, they're not quite as strong. The American armor is, but if you can isolate the American armor, you can cut them out of supply, reduce their strengths a little bit, their abilities, and then hit them. But with all the hole plugging the Americans need to do, it's kind of hard to get that armor into a good position to be defensive. Now, I did manage to get these units here, and I want you to take notice. I'm going to scan over the map. American, American, American. Oops, sorry. American. That's 3 on that side, all right? Let's go over here to the other side. American. That's it. And then a group that came in with literally nothing in them, all right, 84th. And you look at the rest of the map, there are no more. So the Americans came in these zones here on this last turn. Big armor stack here, all right? And we tried to attack this unit, which was 14, because this is treated like a fort. He's got 7 defense in here. And we tried to attack with... The Americans, when they attack, they can attack with all steps. So they had like a 3-1, and it's a -2 because of a fort. They rolled a... Let me see. They rolled a 3. -2 is a 1. And you get a CON result, which is contact, no effect by either side. And the victory conditions are checked at the end of the Allied turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The Germans own 5. They could even lost this one, and they still would have won. If this could have gone one more turn, the Americans would have started getting all of this right here. And then that, and then just so forth. But, so it seems to me that the strategy for this game is to go as hard as you can as the Germans, which I believe was the intent anyhow in December of 44. The attrition or the fuel shortage rolls, it's funny because I rolled the same result on this turn as I did 2 turns ago, or the last turn. One of those units isn't even on the board yet for the Germans. And the other one is the Fallschirmjäger unit, which, not Fallschirmjäger. Anyhow, the only one unit was affected, and he was only allowed to move 1 hex. Well, he was able to move 1 hex to be in contact with the armor He was able to move 1 hex just to be in contact with this armor over here. So it really was no penalty. Everybody else was able to just fly around the battlefield. So once we cleared out Bastogne, which is huge because of all those roads leading out of there, we were able to shoot across those rivers, get those bridges, and then with the mobile units, get off these maps into the zones. And like I say, doing it before the 22nd, the morning of the 22nd, before the Allies start getting heavy reinforcements, take those zones, you end the turn on the 21st p.m. and you have the victory conditions met, the game's over. So this game was quite fun. I enjoyed playing this game. You see, this is Bastogne or Bust from Terran Games. It's an older game. I don't know if it has a date on the box or not. Let's see. Oh, imagine that. Joe Yost did the package design, and Mark Simonich did the actual game counter graphics in this Chester Hendricks game. I don't see the date here on the box. Let's see what the booklet says. 1995. All right. So this game was made in 1995. I had fun playing this thing. It plays pretty easy. The rules aren't super detailed. You know, I thought to myself, well, what could be added to this game to make it give it a little bit more? And I thought at first overrun, but I think if you overrun, the Germans could probably end this thing even faster, unless you were real strict on the overrun rules. And then I also thought to myself, well, what about some combined arms stuff? Well, you had the thing where if your headquarters had all three of the regiments from the division attacking, and the headquarters was attacking too, then you could get a die roll modifier there. Air was minimal as it was anyhow. You know, the Americans had the advantage, but there's like a 4 or 5 stretch turn where there is no air at all between the 19th and the 22nd. So the Germans got to do their damage on the 16th from the 16th through the 21st. And it worked. In this one here, the Germans were able to roll. The combat chart is not... I'm not going to say it's attacker friendly. It's not defender friendly. Because most of the ones where the defender takes a retreat or a loss or something, usually the German or the attacker loses 2. There's some where you do an exchange where the defender will lose 2, but then the attacker's also got to lose 2. And if the defender's only got 1 unit in there, he's going to lose 1, the attacker's going to lose 2. So, you know, there's that. But you getting massed odds, yeah, because you got to isolate most of the American units once you had a few holes created. And the zone of control rule, and I want to go over that again because I think I had that wrong in my second video. The units with the bands on them are the ones that exert zone of controls. And if they are in an engaged status because of combat, they don't have a zone of control, okay? Bridges, 3 turns to repair a bridge. Americans could destroy them instantly if they were available, but 3 turns for a German engineer to completely restore a bridge. And like I said, really not much. You know, movement. You got road movement bonuses, and then flip your engage, get rid of your engages, do your combat, and check your supply. Move on to the next player's phase where he might have some dice rolls at the start of the turn. You know, i.e. the Germans with their fuel shortages, and the Allies with getting air. And like I say, from the 19th through the morning of the 22nd, there's nothing in the box over here that says they get any air. And I don't even think they get their 2 automatic ones for those turns because there's no marks over here on the turn record track. And these zones make this thing interesting. So the designer's note said to pound that H zone just as fast as you could. Well, I did the best I could with that. I got in there and they were never able to get thrown out. And maybe I should have had the Allies sitting in these zones, but then that would have meant leaving reinforcements over there, a lot of them, and then that would have just freed up the Germans just to take control of the map and win the victory condition that way. So here's a Bulge game that if you want to have a pretty good chance of winning this Germans, here's one right here to play. All right. I don't know how. I'm not sure how the Americans can do unless you just get some bad die rolls, or I mean, there's a lot of great terrain to put them in, but you don't really get nothing for the woods other than a -1. So you got to get troops. You got to put them in the rough and in the cities, or in the broken hexes, or in the cities or the forts. And then with the zone of control rule, I don't think the Americans have enough to spread and cover all the zones, or to create zones of controls from top to bottom of the map. All right, still, fun game. Really enjoyed this one. Easy, like I say, easy play. Bastogne or Bust, Terran Games, 1995. If you got it, pull it out and play it. It's easy to learn, easy to play. You'll have it done in a matter, you can probably sit down and play it in a day if you wanted, but I had to spread it out over the evenings. So you can have it played completely in a couple days. And I'll probably have to give this thing another crack one time because I want to try to see if I can't switch up the strategy as the Allies and see if we can't hold the Germans back. All right, let's get this posted. We're done in the Ardennes 44. It's time to move on to other stuff now. Talk to y'all soon.